Imagine a weapons manufacturer comes to you and says, "I want to get rid of guns so more lives can be saved." This sounds contradictory with them being a weapons manufacturer and all. But that's exactly what Axon, the company behind the Taser, wants to do. This is a bold, ambitious plan, a plan most people would consider to be impossible. But they are doing it, and so far, despite some early setbacks, they have made great strides in not only reducing the lethality of guns, but also redefining and modernizing law enforcement. In 2017, they shifted their company from being just the manufacturer of the Taser to a public safety company, where they now build body cameras and offer cloud storage for law enforcement agencies. The success of this shift is evident in the company's stock, which has been on an incredible run and almost tripled in price within the past year. Before we talk more about Axon, it is important to know the history of weapons and why the company wants to reduce their lethality. The first weapon created, or more appropriately, harnessed by humans, was also what significantly aided our survival and evolution. This weapon is fire. Learning to make and control fire 1.4 million years ago helped keep us warm, helped us extract more nutrients from our foods, and helped in navigating the darkness that came with the night. It also expanded our capacity to engage in conflict, since that same fire could be weaponized against predators and against other humans. But fire would not be our first weapon or the last. Humanity went on to make more intentional weapons out of sticks, stones, and then out of metals once we learned to extract them from the ground and melt them into different pointy, stabby shapes. Arrows, crossbows, swords, trebuchets, guns, and cannons all immediately came after and profoundly expanded our capability to inflict damage. And then came rockets, armored tanks, and finally, nuclear weapons. This history of weapons is not comprehensive, but it highlights significant milestones in their development, with each milestone introducing greater lethality and a high human cost over precision and minimum collateral damage. There has been some recent strides in making weapons more precise, like the AGM-114R9X, which uses blades instead of explosives. But the fact still stands that the weapons we have created are extremely lethal, too lethal to be used in a field like law enforcement, where public safety is paramount. And this is where Axon comes into the picture. Axon does not want law enforcement to be lethal. The founder and CEO of Axon has stated, "We support law enforcement officers by equipping them with better tools that preserve life and document truth." Why, in a country that borderline reveres guns, would one of its premier companies want to prioritize life, truth, and justice the most? And so, here begins our story of Axon, the company behind the Taser. The story of Axon cannot be told without talking about the 1911 novel Tom Swift and His Electric Rifle. This novel follows the adventures of Tom Swift, a hero who invented an electric rifle to help him and his friends trek through Africa. The electric rifle could be calibrated to different levels of lethality, from delivering a mild shock to bringing down an elephant or even a rhinoceros. Tom Swift's electric rifle became the inspiration for the real-life invention of a non-lethal electric weapon by NASA researcher Jack Cover in 1969, who aptly named it Tom Swift Electric Rifle, or the TSER. An A was later added into this acronym, giving us what we now universally call the Taser. The first iteration of the Taser used gunpowder as the propellant, and this led to its classification as a firearm in 1976. In the 1980s, an improved version that didn't use gunpowder was successfully tested. But the Taser in its iteration during that time was still not widely accepted as a viable means for law enforcement due to its tendency to fail in the field. This became more pronounced during the Rodney King incident in 1991, where LAPD officers attempted to arrest Rodney King and subdue him with a taser device, which failed spectacularly. This failure was cited as the reason why the officers resorted to using physical force to restrain Rodney King. The aftermath of this event led to a broader conversation about accountability in policing and the use of non-lethal weapons, and subsequently led to a renewal in focusing on developing better taser technology. This was spearheaded by Tom Smith and Rick Smith, who founded Taser International, which eventually became what we now know as Axon. To understand Axon's goal, we need to first understand Rick Smith, since a lot of what the company aims to be is driven by his lived experiences and beliefs. He lost two close friends to gun violence, and in his book, The End of Killing, he argues that lethal force is a technological problem, not a human one. He believes that the gun is an antiquated technology that needs to be replaced and made a relic of the past because of its deadliness. This goes against the norm, where ending the life of someone is widely accepted in both warfare and law enforcement. It also goes against what a weapons manufacturer creates. But Rick Smith, and by extension Axon, believes they can create a taser that is both non-lethal and outperforms a handgun in speed, reliability, and effectiveness. Early versions of the taser did not meet this benchmark. They were short-range, unreliable, and had a one-shot limit. The current version of the Taser 10, crushes these earlier versions. The Taser 10 has a 45-foot range, 10 probes, which allows it to be shot 10 times, and is laser guided. Beyond the Taser, Axon also heavily invests in research and development with the aim of reducing police shootings and protecting both civilians and officers. Some of these developments include the use of AI and VR training. Despite the good that Axon aims to do, there is real fear that the company is slowly creeping into being a surveillance company. The company now offers a cloud storage service called Evidence to store information collected within the field by law enforcement agencies. It also has the Axon body, fleet, signal, fuses, and is now also heavily investing in drone technology. All these products allow the company to collect and interpret an incredible amount of data for law enforcement. And even though this data will ultimately be used to protect both civilians and officers, there is real concern that the company's strong desire to protect and carry out justice is urging it towards creating a complete digitization of law enforcement that may one day be controlled by artificial intelligence, completely removing the human element in law enforcement. In fact, in 2022, the company proposed equipping drones with tasers in schools to address the school shooter problem. This pitch led to its ethics board resigning en masse. There is no doubt that similar proposals will occur in the future as the company invests more and more in drone technology and AI. But there is no question that the company truly aims to do good in the world. Its line of products shows that it is not only concerned with redesigning weapons, but also concerned with the current state of law enforcement and how it can be reformed to better serve the interests of the public. If it succeeds in its goal, Axon will radically reduce gun violence and increase police accountability with its line of products. And if it does not, it could unintentionally provide law enforcement with more means to surveil the public and entrench its dependency on technology, both of which could harm the public it seeks to serve if there is no external oversight. But the company has already done a lot of good and has prevented a lot of undesirable outcomes in law enforcement. Axon is a company worth cheering for, and their goal of ending the need for lethal guns may not be a far-off dream if they stick by their core mission of protecting life, capturing the truth, and accelerating justice.